evening all, welcome back to the Battle Bunker. It's been a minute since the last video that I did. I've had quite a lot going on, but I have managed to get a couple of tournaments and a friendly game against Tristan in. So going to quickly cover the two tournaments, quickly cover the first tournament, which was back on the 29th of June. Then I'll talk to you about the game with Tristan, and then the tournament that I've just had this weekend. So the 29th of June was the East Anglian Grand Tournament. It's a 40-man RTT tournament. It's where my tournament journey began. It was my first ever tournament. Was at an EAGT. Where I didn't fare very well. I lost all 3 games, and I don't think I scored 100 points all day. Since then, obviously, we've been tracking my tournament play, and this would mark the somewhere around 6 months, 8 months into my first 12 months of playing tournaments. So again, 3 rounds, 40 people. My first game was against a nice chap called Warwick with his Astra Militarum. The game, it didn't go quite my way. To a 51 to 100 defeat. But I've been working on the Ghosts of the Webway. I've been trying to learn from every game, and things have been improving. So it was a really fun game, but I got shut out from primary to the point where I only scored 9 points of primary. 9 points of Terraform primary. I did manage to score 9 points just on the Challenger cards though, so that was fun. But it went the full distance, it went the full 5 turns, and I did learn quite a bit about the army. So the next game, round 2, was against a chap that I've never, the first time I've ever played him, but we have met a few times at other RTTs, and that was Johnny with his Blood Angels. Fared a little bit better than this time. It was a 66 to 100 defeat, and I know exactly where I went wrong. The game was really close. It was, I say really close. It was reasonably close. It was a Purge the Foe, which playing as an MSU Eldar, really difficult to get it to go my way. But the game felt really close until about turn, which turn was it? Until turn 3. And in turn 3, actually bottom of turn 2, I pulled Display of Might, and I thought, this is easy. I can score this one for a whole 4 points. I moved all my transports forward, made sure that I'd got so much in the midboard. I unloaded all my transports. I got like 9 units in the midboard to his 3 or 4. I thought, I've got this for 4 points. But what I didn't anticipate was the fact that I had just exposed my bumhole, and Johnny was about to ram his army straight up it. I exposed everything. The Blood Angels went, thank you very much. And over the course of the next 2 turns, they walked through my entire army to end up tabling me at the top of turn 4. So lesson learned from that. It's only 4 points. Did I need to commit 3/4 of my army on a full send just to score those 4 points? No, I didn't. If he'd got 2 units in the midboard, I needed 3. Yeah, so definitely a lesson learned. And it was a really fun game, really enjoyable. And thank you for pointing out exactly where I went wrong, Johnny, after the game, and talking me through it. It was really good, and I hope to play both Johnny and Warwick again at some point. The third game of the day was against my East Anglian not East Anglian, West Norfolk Rollers teammate Jay. There was only the two of us there from West Norfolk Rollers this year, or this tournament, with his Blood Angels. Very different Blood Angels list. And as usual for myself and Jay, a very close game. We came out of it with me being the victor at 63-56. So me and Jay always have really close games. We always have a lot of fun when we're playing. But I just managed to pull out just enough. It was what was it? It was a search and destroy mission. It was hidden supplies. It was a hidden supplies mission. Yeah. So it's a pretty basic take and hold. Hold 1, hold 2, hold more. But only the mid-board ones count. And like I say, 63-56 was a really close game, right down to the wire. However, the one amusement of the game, we always have to do something silly. So Dante's charging across the battlefield at me. He's a unit on his own, just a character, come charging across the battlefield at me. I say Dante's just a character. He's a brute once he gets to you. So what's the best way to make Dante go away? Shoot him in the face with a fire prism. Yeah, bye Dante. Job done. But yeah, so like I say, really close game. So that was the East Anglian Grand Tournament RTT back at the end of June. I should be back again for their next RTT in October, which will signify the first 12 months of me being a tournament player. We went first one out. I think the first time out I finished something like 33rd, 35th. But that was only because technically I got a tick in the win column, because one of the other players had left, pulled out of the tournament midway through, which meant I got a bye in the last round. So although I played Aaron in the last round of that, and I lost, I think I scored like 21 points, because it was a bye and it was just a fun, friendly game. I technically got one in the win column, which put me higher up the table than I deserved to be. This one, though, I was legitimately, I finished 31st, I think it was. So yeah, really happy with the outcome of that. It was a definite improvement. I definitely scored over 100 points, as you can see. Yeah, so things are going in the right direction. So that's that tournament. Then Tristan, my son, he decides that he usually plays Chaos Space Marines, but a good friend and West Norfolk Roller teammate of ours, Jake, he gifted Tristan a Khorne Demon Army. It was really nice of him to do that. Really grateful, and Tristan's incredibly grateful for it, because he's always wanted to play demons. So he's now decided he's going to switch from Chaos Space Marines to Chaos Demons. So the two of us had a little friendly game here. Is in the battle bunker, and he beat me. It was a good game, really good game. He beat me 84-72. He just basically he went full send and fucking deal with it. So off everything he came. 4 units of bloodletters, 2 units of blood crushers, unit of blues holding that came up to hold the middle. They take more clearing than you realise, especially when they come back as brimstones. And then he had a two demon princes and a bloodthirster. So I actually learned something from this game, something quite serious and something quite major. In my 4th turn, I didn't score anything. And the reason I didn't score anything is because I'd already killed his bloodthirster and both demon princes, and then I drew Bring It Down. Now, I did not know, after all these tournaments I've been playing, I did not know that if there are no eligible targets for Bring It Down, you can redraw it for free. I should know this, but I didn't. So instead, I'm sitting on these two. I'm sitting on Bring It Down and Establish Locus. Establish Locus is a funny one anyway. You know, so it's not something that it's one that I would normally burn. So my intention was to burn them both at the end of the 4th turn, which I did, but that meant I didn't score either of them. So had I considered that I could have redrawn Bring It Down for free because there was no eligible targets, and if I'd spent 1 CP to ditch Establish Locus at the start of the turn, I could potentially have closed that gap. Yeah, maybe I wouldn't have got it down to, maybe I wouldn't have matched it out, but I could have closed that gap, and it would have been a lot closer than the 72-84 that it was. But given Tristan his dues, he played well. He thought about, once he got everything out onto the objectives, he thought about how he was going to hold the objectives. He thought about how he was going to score secondaries. I mean, he scored 40 out of 50 on his primary. And it was Scorched Earth as well, so he did burn an objective in the 5th turn. All dues to him. 40 points primary, 28 points on his secondary. I only scored 35 points on my primary and 27 on my secondary. If I'd scored maybe another 8 points on that, things might have been a bit closer. If I'd burnt an objective earlier, things would have been a bit closer. But again, these are all lessons that I'm learning as a player, and all lessons that I want to pass on to other people that are on their way up. I'm really enjoying the journey into competitive play, and it'd be my honour to help other people to get there as well. So to this weekend, this one's a bit fresher in my mind, so we can talk a bit more in depth about this weekend's tournament. This was another Nar Valley tournament, so it was only 16 players. There were myself, Jay, Tristan, Paul, Lars, Alex. Yeah, five of us. Five of us from the West Norfolk Rollers in attendance. And they're always fun tournaments. They're not. It's not a tournament that takes itself too seriously. You've got a wide variety of a wide range of player abilities there. So my first game was against Alex, not the West Norfolk Rollers Alex, against a different Alex, and he brought his Hammer of the Emperor Astra Militarum. So his list was basically a Commissar, 7 or 8 different Layman Russes, 2 units of Bullgrins, I think it was, and 2 Valkyrie transport ships. So the first thing he did was he put the Valkyries into hover mode, which meant that I could engage them. I could fight them as normal tanks. So the question I asked myself: how many armoured vehicles can I bring down a turn? The answer: 2 and a bit. Yeah. So about 2.5 vehicles a turn. I won this one 80 points to 56. My strategy going into the game, I'd been thinking about how I was going to play this round one for quite a few days, having found out who I was facing. So my strategy was to get out early, use my speed, which is superior to his. Get out early, create roadblocks, create traffic jams, and take down the armour. I've got 2 fire prisms in my army, and a void weaver, and then there are shining spears and sky weavers as well. So plenty. And a bright lance on a viper. So plenty of anti-tank to go around. And whilst they were off killing vehicles, the Harlequins were out. They were scoring primary. They were scoring the secondaries. They did absolutely mutilate the 2 units of Bullgrins that Alex put out. So, like I say, how much armour can you kill in a turn? The answer is 2 and a bit. So the biggest problem I had is that a Layman Russ is 13 wounds. A fire prism does a maximum of 12 damage. So I was relying on doubling up. I had 1 fire prism on one flank, 1 fire prism on the other. It was a bear with me. It was a terraform mission, and it was on sweeping engagement on the map. So I had 1 fire prism on one flank, 1 fire prism on the other, and then with the fire prism on the right hand flank, I had the Void Weaver and the Sky Weavers, and on the other flank I had the Viper and the Shining Spears, and then all the Harlequins just down the middle. Yeah, or in the middle, 2/3 of the table. So basically, turn 1, one of the Valkyries was exposed, so that took a hit. That came down with a combination of combined fire. And on the other side of the board, there was a Layman Russ, nice and out in the open. So that got hit as well, and that came down. And so that was turn 1. Turn 2, he brought his remaining Valkyrie up the board to about halfway up the board, where my Harlequin troop with the Shadow Seer, which had infiltrated into the mid-board, came across and engaged it and tied it up for a turn. It did manage to fight its way through them. No, actually, no, I tell a lie. He fell back. Yeah, he used a fallback to come away from the combat, and he managed to get into my deployment zone. But then there wasn't a lot he could do once he got there. Then the following turn, the Fire Prism and the Viper turned on it, and they brought it down then. He then got the Bullgrins got out, and they were then set about in my charge phase by a unit of Harlequins with a troop master. They didn't last long, and the game pretty much went like this. With Alex slowly running out of tanks, and then in my turn 3, I used exit the stage to bring my Death Jester off of my deployment zone, and I brought it in on his in his deployment zone, where he proceeded to gun down the commissar, whilst everything else just mopped up. So at the top of turn 4, my turn 4, basically Alex had nothing left, and I tabled him, and that was an 80-56 victory, which was nice. It was nice to get a win under my belt, nice and early in the tournament. But yeah, it was a really good fun game. Thank you, Alex, for that one. So the next round, so it was finally a rematch for myself and Steve Buss. Steve's also an Eldar player. He's a lot of people out there on the circuit will know Steve. He's one of the Black Crows, and he is one of the nicest chaps you'll ever meet. Such a friendly guy, such a fun guy to be around. So the mission with him was a Purge the Foe, Eldar Purge the Foe. I have never played a game so cagey in all my life, and I don't think Steve has either. And it was on Crucible of Battle deployment. I did take a pounding. We both took a pounding, to be honest. The game felt a lot closer than the scoreline would have you believe. Even speaking to Steve afterwards, it felt a lot closer than the 100-37 defeat that I received. Steve plays a lot of Eldar. He got a Warhost Eldar. There was a significant number of Fire Dragons and Warp Spiders in his list, along with some Corsairs, and a Wave Serpent and Fuegan. So it was very different, two very, very different Eldar lists. But I knew what he could do to me, and he had an idea of what the Harlequins could do to him. He was saying to me before the game that he would love to play Harlequins himself, but he's too scared. So he wanted to have a look, and it was nice for him to be able to have a look and see what the Harlequins can do. And thanks to there's a lot of -1 hits. There's a lot of 4+ invols. I think it was Exile Wargaming. I watched a video of his, and I'm sure it was him that was saying the art of playing Harlequins is to roll more 4+ invols than you don't. In fact, roll more 4+ dice in general than you don't. So, like I say, the game felt an awful lot closer. I ran out of units in turn 5. To be honest, Steve didn't have an awful lot left. The only things that Steve really had left was his Dark Reapers, which had stayed in his deployment zone. So I'd not been able to get to them. It was the only reason they were still alive. But everything that had met in the middle of the board had pretty much decimated each other, either through massive amounts of melter firepower, or through lots and lots and lots of little knives from the Harlequins. So it was really, really good game. And as always, Steve, really enjoyed playing it. Look forward to meeting you across the battlefield again, and maybe next time it'll be mine, but we'll see. So my third game was against the West Norfolk Rollers, Alex. He had his combined arms Astra Militarum, a very different list from the Hammer of the Emperor one that I'd faced earlier. earlier in the day, there was a significant number of indirect fire solutions for him, and much more infantry. I have to say that, you know, the indirect did cost me quite a bit of my infantry, until it came to one lone troop master that was on an objective. There was 2 basilisks, 2 manticores, 2 other indirect guns, and Alex threw everything he got indirect at this troop master, and the troop master just shrugged it off. Either Alex couldn't hit, or if he hit, he couldn't wound. If he was lucky enough to hit and he was wound, I was lucky enough to roll 4+ armor saves. You know, he also threw a unit of Cadians, I think they were, with rapid fire las guns, and still this troop master stayed. But my that game was a hidden supplies, and it was on a search and destroy map. So my idea on this game, my plan was that I started my deployment zone. I infiltrated one unit of Harlequins just off the bottom right hand objective marker, and then I got first turn. So in my first turn, I shot some bikes up to the top left hand side objective marker, and took that one. Moved the infiltrated unit onto the objective to take that one, but in cover. And then I'd got some Storm Guardians just right on the edge of the middle part of the deployment. So I strung them out, just a couple out, stuck their noses out, just enough to tow onto the middle objective and make it sticky. And then what I did, once I got all that in place, is I moved everything else to screen all the routes through. He didn't have much in the way of heavy armor. He only had a couple of armored sentinels and a couple of scout sentinels. So I then moved everything to screen everything else out, so that he basically couldn't get too far out of his own deployment zone. And I just the final score was 87 to 55. I maxed out my primary, and then 27 out of 40 points on my secondaries. In the meantime, Alex managed only 10 points on his primary, 27 points on his secondary, and then 8 out of 9 points on his challenger cards. So, like I say, 87-55. It was a lot of fun. There was some big time laughs had. Fire prisms, I've got to say, over the course of the day, you know, I run 2 fire prisms. Everybody says, "Oh, fire prisms don't do it. Fire prisms are this. Fire prisms are that." My fire prisms, over the course of the weekend or over the course of the day, they are what helped me to win it. If they weren't bringing down big vehicles, then their dispersed pattern shots, you know, strength 6, AP 2 damage, you know, it's up there with a shuriken cannon, you know, and it was cutting down light infantry quite significantly and quite easily. You know, I didn't table Alex, but it was a game where I pretty much shut him out of the board. Alex did make a couple of mistakes. you know, he had an opportunity to score recover assets. Instead, that turn he got so invested in killing this lone troop master that was going to deny me an objective when I already held 3 of the midfield objectives, so I'd have still held 2. You know, unfortunately, he got too invested in that, and he held his hands up himself and said he got all excited about it. So unfortunately, that cost him 4 points that turn, which I believe he did score. Recover 5 points. Sorry, yeah, he did. He did score recover the following turn. So it was a 2-1 tournament for me, which I was really happy about. I haven't gone 2-1 for quite some time, and I finished 9th, I believe it was. So 9 out of 14, of 9 out of 16 of us. So it was really good event. We all finished fairly close in the middle. Lars finished at 7. I think Paul finished 1 place behind me. So we was all in that sort of 7 to 11 slot, apart from Paul Tristan. Paul Tristan, he came away with a wooden spoon. But you know, he's 17. He's learning. It was his first tournament with his demons, and bless him, the poor boy got a rough trot through. His first game was against Knights. I think it wasn't yet. I think was it against Knights? Yeah, I think his first game was against Knights. I think his second game was against Imperial Knights as well. And then his third game, I think, was against Space Wolves. So, you know, he'll get there. He just needs to listen to the people that have been playing a bit longer, and he'll get there. But anyway, I've had a really good month of tournaments. I'm going to take a bit of a break now over the summer and do some family stuff. The next Nar Valley tournament that I should be playing will be September. There might be we might have a couple of friendly games over the course of the summer. Maybe get some friendly games in with some of the other guys as well. And then, but I should be back September and then October for the EAGT as well. So thank you very much, everybody, for listening. I know it's a long one this time. It's just over the half-hour mark, so I know it's a long one. But thank you very much if you've made it this far. I hope your tournaments go well, and I hope you all have a good summer. And I hope you roll those 4s on those dices. But however it happens, may the dice forever roll in your favour. Thank you very much. Good night.